Look what just arrived, the Lubanko Tarot. It comes wrapped in a cloth, which is nice. It's always a nice reception to get a little cloth with the tarot. So that is a really thin cloth, but it's kind of cute. I like it. Do like it. Doesn't look half bad. And here is the deck themselves. Emily Lubanko with all the social medias. You can zoom in and see that. And a sticker. And a sticker indeed. In case you want the sticker, there it is. All right. Let's take a look at it. Take a look at the cloth real quick. Just a kind of a standard cloth. It is see-through, so you can actually see through it. I don't think it's coming across on the camera, but you can. I can assure you. All right. So let's open it up and see what goodies we have inside. Because there's only one thing better than a tarot deck, and that's another new tarot deck. All right. I like the box. Nice, hard box. Looks really kind of cool there. That's pretty cool looking. There you go. A fully illustrated 78-card tarot deck exploring the surreal, the intense, the queer, and the divine. It sounds like we're exploring one of everything. And I mean, it's a tight fit. I can't really open it without breaking it. So there's the inside of there. And here is your book. It is black and white. Doesn't look like enough pages, about 100-ish pages. Let's take a look at the cards, and we'll come back to the... Ooh, look at the edging on this. Ooh, that is very nice indeed. I like that. I like that a lot. Solid steel. Okay, maybe not solid steel, but the edging, that is tight. And there is the back. Everybody wants the back, and now you have it. Ooh, that is nice and sharp and silvery and just very pretty. Very pretty indeed. Can I get in a little more? I like to zoom, I like to zoom all the way in so you can get the full experience. I don't like people that are like, halfway across the country from the deck and you don't really get to see close-ups. Anyway, there's the Fool. That is an extremely attractive card. I love if you're going to do a border with a very bright and vibrant type of card, I like the border to be black. So it just sort of accentuates the colors and whatnot. That's just my preference though. The Magician, very cool. I love the artwork. The artwork is great. Very sort of different, wildly different from card to card, but it keeps the same theme. So that's really one thing that I love to see is keeping the same theme together, but having enough differences where, it just feels like it's in the same deck. Again, very pretty. The Empress, I love that. I love that. The Emperor, also excellent. Very, very nice indeed. And the Hierophant, wild looking. I like the mask action. I think the mask really sort of brings a different perspective to it. Especially with the four hands, like we have a few different people, 2, 3, maybe 4 different people, sort of it just feels like, sort of going through the book, holding on, taking off the mask. Just seems like a lot of stuff going on here. And that is an unusual deck. That is an unusual lover's card, I have to say. A lot of jokes. And every time I say one, people complain, so I'm going to skip it. I'm going to let you think of my joke. I'll let you assume where the joke is going. Okay. The Chariot is pretty wild. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, that is very cool. Almost like an underwater feel with like a large serpent surrounding a drowning horse or a horse in the water. Very weird. And Strength. It is a perverted Santa going at it. I don't know what's happening here. But yeah, that's pretty wild looking. And the Hermit, definitely cool. I love the Hermit. Hermit looks really nice. I love the constellations. It's got like that world feel, but instead of just alone. And the Wheel of Fortune, very cool indeed. I like it. Ooh, the head is like this pronged, weird looking thing. And then Justice, of course. Justice looks great. Very wild deck. Hanged Man. That's interesting. It's almost like that we're drowning, but not quite. I mean, we have that danger level of the water. The water could raise up a little, and then we have problems and death. Wild card. Very unusual art indeed. Let's check it out. And by the way, the card quality is immaculate. That's barely moving. That's going like here. Card quality is immaculate. Very nice indeed. All right, now we go into the Temperance, which, again, I'm sure what's happening. It looks sort of like a traditional Temperance. And then the Devil is, it looks like she's climbing into a fruit. Maybe a fruit with some chains. Chains and fruit. Those two do go together quite well, I have to say. And, of course, the Tower. Ooh, interesting. Reminds me of Final Fantasy XIV, some of the boss areas in one of the patches, or one of the expansions. And the Star. Interesting. Sort of just trying to devise their way by looking into the water, I guess. The Moon. Oh, wild looking too. All right. And then the Sun. Love the Sun. That's cool looking. I love that. All the action and movement and sort of just this artistic movement that's happening within that. I think it's hot. And Judgment. Ooh, that kind of looks like the Tower. I mean, it does. We just have somebody sort of being lifted out and upwards. I love it. I love it. The World. Kind of cool. And we have the Ace of Wands. It's sort of getting into more traditional here. So I think in the majors, we sort of wandered into territory unknown. Had a lot of interesting sort of concepts there. Two of Wands, beautifully illustrated minors. Beautifully illustrated minors. Look at that sort of scanning out into the distance, trying to determine where we're going. And the Three of Wands, more scanning, sort of like just reaching out. That kind of looks like Judgment, actually. The Four, the Doorway, I think brings in a lot of interesting aspects to that. That sort of that spirit that's hovering in here is kind of cool too. And the Five of Wands with all the conflict and what have you. So the Six of Wands, celebratory ride, looking good. The Horse is looking away, which I think is kind of interesting in comparison where the traditional stuff is. And then the Seven, the defensive nature, I think is well balanced there. The Eight, interesting, very interesting. So it's like a Ten of Wands, but not. Almost like a Ten of Wands with a little bit of flourish to it. And then the Nine, the Injured Warrior, that's an interesting take on that. Like all the arrows are stuck into the trees and they're just by themselves down there. And then the 10, here's the 10 of Wands. Oh, the element of danger. It's almost like the Fool. It reminds me sort of like a Fool type of thing, but now they have the extra weight. And it introduces the element of danger, obviously, with falling. Then you have the Page. Again, looks great. And then the Knight, which again is unusual. Queen. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on there. Almost looked like a devil-ish card. And then a King. So, ooh, that's a weird expression on their face. Very, very unusual expressions in some of these cards. Ace of Cups. Not really sure what's happening. No idea what's happening, actually. 2, we have the two people sort of joining together. The blindfold is kind of an interesting twist, I would say, with that. And the 3 as well. I think it looks pretty cool. Got the celebratory aspect, but again, in the Lubanko tarot style. 4 is pretty traditional. I mean, that's pretty traditional. 5 is not, though. That's almost like an 8. Doesn't that feel like an 8 of Cups? Sort of just about to just abandon it, walk away. I mean, you'd have the disappointment. It does have a feeling of claustrophobia almost, like we're stuck in a cave. And then the 6. I love it. Very cool take on that. 7. Not really sure what's going on here. It's almost like a 6 of Swords boat action at the bottom. So we have a 8 of Cups. A big loss of control here. You do see the Eight of Cups being a loss of control in many reads, but this one really sort of accentuates it. And then the 9. The 9 looks great. 9 looks great. I love that sort of a jovial aspect to it, right? Which, I mean, you do have the jovial aspect to the 9 of Cups traditionally, but this one sort of takes it to a next level. 10 is missing everything. It doesn't even look like a traditional 10, but this is not a traditional deck, that's for sure. Page, a little bit more back into this underwater theme. And then we have the Knight, which Mr. Romance, that definitely coincides with my usual definition of Mr. Romance. And the Queen, that comfort, that, I mean, it has a little bit of that Thoth feel in that Queen. And then the King. Again, the Kings almost have, I mean, they have a lot of, is this the, maybe I'm not remembering the other King correctly, but the Kings have a lot of sort of almost a spirit-ish feel to them instead of like a real face. Now I got to go look at the other King. Now that sounds bothering me. The King of Wands. Yeah, okay. So the Kings have more of a spirit face or a lack of an expression or a lack of a full face type thing. It's, I guess, be interesting to see if we follow through with that theme. And then we have the Ace, pretty traditional. The 2, the double-sided, sort of that two-faced feel there. And then the 3 being sort of heartbroken and upset. 4 with the delay, pretty cool, but not lying down. The 5 brings a 10 of Swords feel into the 5, doesn't it? I mean, a little bit of that 10 of Swords feel. I don't know if they're holding the swords back there or they are stabbed. I'm not really sure what's happening, but it does introduce another element to it, which I think is kind of cool. The 6, which is the boat ride, and it looks like we are underneath the boat reaching up. Interesting. 7, again, I guess maybe that's a sheath. Maybe this is just a sheath behind their back, and that's what you have with the 5 and the 7. Not really sure. Have not seen a multi-sword sheath ever. And then the 8. So weird kind of a mask feel, pig mask again. Not really sure which is going on with the groin there. Not really sure. But the 9 definitely has some good tradition here with the nightmare, threat, the swords pointing in, and the 10, pretty traditional. I mean, that's sort of in a weave of web, it kind of feels like, with the page being, I mean, a little bit of a, feels like an Excalibur or something type of feel. And that is a vibrant Knight that really leans itself towards a Thoth feel, doesn't it? With that Knight, sort of a Thoth feel with that Knight of Swords. Obviously, this is going to be a different than the Thoth, but it has that Thoth feel. We have a lot of movement. You have vibrant colors with movement in the background. You have that multi-level of movement. And then the Queen sort of entangled within the King, which again doesn't have a full face. It's sort of interesting how that works. And where we go with the Pentacles. That looks like just a flower, I guess, a flower. I don't know if we're tied up, what's going on, but we do have an Ace. 2 of Pentacles. Speaking of Thoth feel, they get that balance. Got the balance with the snakes. Got the balance with the snakes. Obviously different than the Thoth. They're not sort of eating themselves, but there is that. And then the 3 of Pentacles, hard at work. Ooh, I love this interpretation. This has such a dynamic to it. It's like bigger than life. Like I've really, really worked hard on this, right? The traditional 3, they've worked hard, but this one, they have really been diligent. I mean, they've produced a grand result with that, right? And the 4, kind of traditional. With the 5, I'm not sure what's going on here. It's almost like a sword card. I guess that's the windows. Sorry, that's the windows, I guess. And they're sort of sneaking by in the cold, but in the dark. Then you have the 6, again, the gifting. I like it. The 7 with 3 hands coming out. And then the 7 of Pentacles. I guess that she already planted it and now she's sort of reaping the reward. Then we have the 8, where apparently we're working on the groin of this figure. Interesting, I guess. Interesting, I guess. We got the 9, where I'm not really sure what's happening here. I'm not even going to guess. I really don't know. What is the red stuff? And then the 10. Ooh, I like it. That's a beautiful 10. That's a beautiful 10. It's got that tree of life feel, right? We have the happy family and whatnot, and the tree surrounding us, and then the page. Page is like full of mischief in this one. I like it. We have the Knight of Pentacles, proud of their wheat field, and kind of the same thing as you see before. The Queen and the King. Overall, I really like this deck. I really, really like this deck. So let's take a look at the book. You will have a drastic shift in how this thing focuses with the book, because when I have a book with white and black with this much, it really kind of doesn't focus well. So we have a couple of spreads in the front, how to use this deck as we go. So a very popular spread, the Tarot Journey, and part 1, the Major Arcana, starts at page 13. And there is the rest of the Fool. The Magician is very short. We have 2 paragraphs, one for upright, one for reversed. Look at a few more. We have the Lovers, has a little more text. So how much text you get seems to be based upon the card that you're looking at. So there is the Lovers, and there is the rest of the Lovers. Now, the Lovers could be the card that ruined the deck for some. I'm not going to pretend that that's going to be everyone's style. Here's the Hanged Man, Temperance and whatnot, and the World. Let's look at some minors and see how much text do we get. Not very much. Definitely kind of short on the text when it comes to the minors. We got the 4, a Hearth, making it home. I assume this 4 Wands. We have the 5, the 6. Again, not much text. 7, 8, 9. So your main body of text is definitely going to be on the majors. And here are some swords. We got the 10 and whatnot. So overall, the book is 100-ish pages. It's sufficient if you don't really know what you're doing. It's kind of a true little white book, that's for sure. Let me know what you think. I like it. I think the art style has definitely reached into territories that are going to be vastly different than what you see on a traditional Rider-Waite deck. Anyway, I'm TarotOracle. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.